I welcome you all in the Linc Limited, and we have from the management, we have Deepak Jalan, he's a MD, and Rohit Jalan is the whole-time director, and NK Dujari, he's a director of finance and CFO, along with Sanjeev sir and Udit sir. So, Udit sir, if you can help me, who all have joined, if you can confirm me as the management and joined from Linc Limited.
Yeah, the management has joined from Linc Limited.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, I just lay out the flow. Initial will be briefing about the company, 10 minutes, and then we'll go for the Q&A. And for the Q&A, I request all the participants to raise hand and put their questions in a chat box. So, we'll take it. So, thank you so much. Now, sir, you can take it over.
I think most of the investors are aware of the company. So can we skip the introduction, or do we need to carry on?
Sir, just 5 minutes. If you can even little current development background you can give, so that will be helpful.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I represent Linc Limited, and I'm sure you must have gone through our quarterly results of the first quarter. So I'm not getting through that. The latest news, I'm sure you must be aware, is that we recently, rather yesterday, signed a JV agreement with Mitsubishi Pencil Company of Japan to produce Uniball products in India. And we've been distributing Uniball products in India since 1992. So it's been quite a long relationship with them. And apart from this, Mitsubishi Pencil Company, we also distribute Delhi stationery products in India exclusively. And then we also signed a JV agreement to set up a factory in Turkey to produce Pantonic pens in Turkey. Turkey has tariff barriers against import of writing instruments. So that is the reason that we have decided to set up a joint venture factory in Turkey. And more or less, this is a brief about Linc Pen. Last year, we crossed revenue of 500 crores. And this year, we are targeting about 17 to 20% growth over last year. So I'm happy to have a Q&A from the audience.
Thank you so much, sir. So before move to the Q&A part, I'm just wanted to request all our participants to raise hand to ask a question, or you can put in the chat box. So Grishma, we have question from Grishma. You can go ahead, please. Your line is unmuted.
Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for taking my question. Sir, keen to know, how would our JV with Mitsubishi Pencil shape up? As in, is it a 50-50 JV? Are we going to set up a different factory? What kind of investments will it entail to? And when do we start our production?
All right, Grishma. This is a 51% by Mitsubishi Pencil Company and 49% by Linc. So this is the shareholding. This will be a new factory set up near Ahmedabad in a Japanese industrial park. And yes, and the production is likely to start from July 25. And we are also going to have a separate
Investor call.
uh,
Separate
investor call
on 1st October.
on 1st October, where we will be sharing more details about this joint venture.
Okay. And we understand that, the entire writing industry went through, kind of a slowdown in Q1, despite being the back to school quarter. So
Yeah.
how are things on the ground? What do you pick up in Q2? What's the business sense like?
So Garishma, unfortunately, Q2 also is similar to Q1, and frankly, there is no explanation that why there has been such a slowdown in the first 6 months of this financial year. So it's kind of a flattish for most of the companies, I have spoken to, including us. So, of course, so far Linc is concerned, we are trying to, with some new introduction, we are trying to increase our revenue. And but of course, the first 6 months have been disappointment, but we are quite optimistic about the future. Considering the new launches, considering our seeding in the export markets, so we are quite optimistic.
Okay, so 2 questions. I want you to tell us more about the outlook for FY25, and also what's the outlook on the export market? Is it much better than the domestic market, or it's still low single digit growth?
Exports is also similar to the local market, and we had given an estimate of about 17 to 20% growth, as a CAGR of 17 to 20%, for next 3 to 5 years. But this year looks a little dismal so far in the first 6 months. And it will be not correct to say that we will be able to make up this 17 to 20% of our annual growth in the remaining 6 months. So definitely we will be falling short of our projection for this year.
Yeah.
And maybe it would be anything between 10 to 15%.
Okay. And how is Delhi doing? DELI?
So Delhi is doing quite moderate so far. Yeah. So yeah, we are trying to improve upon Delhi penetration. So far, it is quite moderate.
Okay, fine. Thanks. I'll come back for more.
Thank you, Grishma. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Next question we have from Vatsal. Vatsal, please go ahead. Yeah, Vatsal sir, please go ahead. Your line is
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you, sir. So I have a few questions. So first one being I recently graduated from college, and throughout my school and college life, what I've seen is the pen trend keeps changing. So there are different phases. So first it was Trimax or Butterflow, and now what I see is Pentonic dominating, especially between school children. So like in future, how are we going to maintain that competitive advantage or that brand loyalty for school children, because they can easily change if a new innovative pen comes into the market? So how are we going to maintain that?
Vatsal, first of all, thank you so much for for your encouraging words about Pentonic. So you are absolutely right. There are phases, and at some time there is one particular brand which will be doing better than all others. So far, Pentonic is concerned, as I have explained in my previous calls, that, we are, trying to develop products like every 6 months, a new Pentonic pen, which would be like, better than the previous one and in a different price point. So for example, we started with a Pentonic ball pen, which was at 10 rupees, and it was a game changer for our company. And then we launched a Pentonic gel pen also at 10 rupees. And then we launched, after a couple of months, we launched a Pentonic retractable ball pen at 20 rupees, which is doing well. Then we also launched a 30 rupee gel pen, which we actually recently launched. And then a couple of months back, we also launched a 40 rupee gel pen under Pentonic, which was a retractable gel pen. So these, so there have been several new introductions, and luckily for us, most of the products have been doing, reasonably well, if not great, so far. And then recently, just in August, September, we launched a 20 rupee Pentonic ball pen, which is called Pentonic CLR. And so initial feedback of that product is also very good. So this is how is our, journey for Pentonic, that, every 6 months, we like to introduce a product which is, which talks about Pentonic, which reflects Pentonic's personality or positioning.
Okay, got it. So the second question was on the gross margin front. So like 4-5 years back, our realization was only 3.5 or 4 rupees per pen, but now it is almost 5.8 or 5.6 rupees. Then also our gross margins are not expanding. So while if we compare to competitors, that's pretty low. That's why.
So Vatsal, yeah, you're right. FY 23, I think our gross margins were
I think last year it has not really improved,
Yeah.
but before that, I think after post pandemic, the margins have improved.
Yeah, FY 23 was good, but before COVID, the margins were also quite average. But because of Pentonic, we improved our margins in FY 20 and then FY 22 and FY 23. But from FY 24 and even today, the margins are subdued because, you can see that there are several copies of Pentonic, and many brands have, developed products which are similar to Pentonic. So to, counter those products, we have to offer some promotions or, discounts to the trade. So that is the reason that, our gross margins are a little compromised. But, so far the new products are concerned, whichever new product we launch under Pentonic ball pen, the margins are not anything between 40 to 50%. So, but, as the competition, copies or targets our new products, we have to offer some, discounts. So that's the reason mainly.
So does that mean that we lose pricing power then?
Sorry?
Do we lose pricing power if we do more of discounting and all?
So we do have pricing power, but Vatsal, what happens that every quarter we have to face the investors. So we are always anxious that we should not lose our market share. So we tend to offer promotions or offers to the trade. even though we realize that we have that pricing power, that we should not, there is no need to give promotions, but then, you know, we like to play it safe.
Okay. So does that mean we're not leveraging our brand enough? Because if you see the Pentonic VRT, we went from 25 rupees to 30 rupees and still there were sales, right? So we are not leveraging our brand enough, especially the Pentonic brand.
What did you say about BRT?
So the price point which was first 25 rupees went to 30 rupees and still there was demand, right?
No, BRT was always 20 rupees. It was always 20 rupees.
Okay, sir. So
Yeah,
just
yeah.
one question. So do
Yeah.
we plan to be in luxury pen market like somewhere north of 500 rupees or something like that?
If we call these this price point, we call premium segment and not luxury, because luxury would be more than 10,000 rupees. So luxury for us is out of question because we are mostly in the mass market. But definitely, you know, a price point of 500 to 1,000 rupees is not far fetched, but currently we are not thinking about that price point. But it cannot be ruled out. And you know, on your cue, we will start thinking about it.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's it.
Yeah, thanks, Vatsal.
Okay, sir. So requesting all the participants to raise hand to ask the questions. And meanwhile, I have few questions, sir. So please allow me to ask that.
Sure,
So
Jyoti, yes.
thank you, sir. So how do we plan to capture the $20 billion dollar opportunity in the global market that you had mentioned in your previous call?
Global opportunity.
Yeah.
20 billion.
Okay. So, okay, right. So, Jyoti, you know, of course, currently we have a presence in about 40 countries where we are, you know, exporting on a regular basis. And of course, there are some countries like North America. I mentioned in my previous calls that we were seeding that market for last 5 years, and then finally in 2023 we were able to find a national distributor for Pentonic. So similarly, we are doing such seeding work in countries like Indonesia, for that matter, which is a large market, and we do not have any, you know, sales there. But for last 3-4 years, we are seeding that market and making our brand. I mean, trying to create awareness about our brand. So the results will be seen in future. Similarly, there are markets in Africa. As you know, that we acquired a majority stake in a pen factory in Kenya, and that was last year. And so the idea is to penetrate into that part of Africa, you know, the neighboring countries of Kenya. And then I just mentioned that we signed a JVA for setting up a joint venture factory in Turkey to produce Pentonic pens. And yeah, so and we, apart from this, we also participate in several international exhibitions where we have our own booth, and you know, potential customers visit us. So yeah, I think we see a lot of potential in exports, and I'm sure we will be able to see the benefits of what we are doing today. We should be able to see the benefits in near future.
And sir, how much currently we are contributing on the export side?
It's about 100 crores, so about 20%.
And sir, how we do the distribution part? We have already a relationship, and who will be handling that part?
So for exports is concerned.
Yes, sir.
So generally, what happens is that we try to our partners in each country are typically one of the largest distributors of stationery of that country. So they are our partners. So they import from us, and then they distribute, leverage their channel to distribute our products. In their channel, and then they have their own sales team, of course, and even from India, we keep sending our sales officers from time to time, at least to the key markets, to promote our products.
Okay, thank you, sir. And sir, like you talked about like you Pentonic you launched recently, and so any further new product launches in the pipeline as you mentioned, like you keep launching. So any strong product that we are keeping in mind or in pipeline that we are planning?
Yeah. So Jyoti, actually, recently we launched a 20 rupee ball pen, and before that we launched a 30 rupee gel pen and a 40 rupee gel pen. So three products have been launched in last 6 months. So they are yet to be launched all India. So right now for us, the first task is to launch these three products across the country, and then of course we have products in pipeline. So we have a mechanical pencil under Pentonic brand, and then there are many other products under pipeline, which I would not like to
Yeah, sure, sir.
share right now. But yes, we have a good pipeline of new products.
Thank you, sir. And sir, following up this question only, we have one question from Deep. So, do we plan to diversify product portfolio from existing pens and recently announced JV for pencils? So, what will be key driver for 17 to 20% CAGR growth?
So, Jyoti, we realized that it was a little challenging to achieve a growth of 17 to 20% just with one category of like writing instruments, ball pens, and gel pens. So that's why we are expanding into the adjacent categories, like other school stationery products or office stationery products, to achieve this objective. So yes, we are expanding into several other products. For example, the children products like crayons or pencils or erasers, sharpeners, drawing instruments, and yeah, so on. There are several products which we are working
We are
upon.
targeting in this category only, right, sir? In this
Yes,
stationery.
so basically school and office stationery.
Yes. So, sir, just one general question from my side, like might be a few people already ask you. So now people are shifting toward more on digital side. So earlier growth was very high because everyone was using pen and all, but now people are shifting to laptop, tab, so more typing on that, not to type on a book or sorry, notepad. So what do you think this business going forward?
Yeah, I've been facing this question for last more than 10 years about the future of a pen, but fortunately for us, the category has a growth, even though it is stunted a little bit, definitely. But as you know that globally, the population is growing, the literacy is, literacy rate is growing in the developing economies. So the number of users are increasing, and maybe at the top of the pyramid, the usage may have come down, but if you look at the middle and bottom of pyramid, the growth is still there, which is likely to continue. So I don't see any threat to a pen, at least in the medium term.
Thank you, sir. And I mean, we are not looking anything for digital side. Like
Digital, yeah. See today, let's say, let me explain to you this way that you have now on the smartphone, I think what I would say that the digital communication has not replaced largely, the writing has not been replaced by digital instruments, but I think it's like the digital communication has increased, multifold. So, yeah, if you take an example of, let's say, earlier people used to send greeting cards, so they would use a pen, but today there are no more greeting cards and you send messages, on a digital platform. So, to some extent, yes, yeah, the consumption of pen has come down, but at the school and college level, the pen usage is still compulsory. And, I recently attended a school event, in Kolkata, and a school was, at top of the, one of the top schools of Kolkata, where, mostly rich people study. And we were talking about the, future of pen or uses of pen. And everybody from students to the principal, they agreed that they cannot do without a pen. So,
yeah, thank you, sir. So we have one question from Akash. So Akash, if you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. Myself, Akash Ulla.
yes, Akash.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I have a question regarding the recyclable material. Recently, the buzzword is there for recyclable pens and everything. So, are we planning to launch any recycle material used pens or anything in our portfolio?
So, Akash, we are in the process of launching a ballpoint pen with using 75% of the post-consumer recycled plastic. So,
Okay.
I think this would be the first one in India by Linc. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's it. That's my question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Akash. So before taking next question, I just wanted to request participant to raise hand to ask more questions. And sir, we will have our manufacturing facility or will be outsourcing from the for new stationery product.
So mostly, currently, most of the new products are outsourced, but at the same time, we are also planning to produce some of those products in-house. So it's going to be a mix of outsourcing and in-house production.
And now do we have any target in term of revenue for new product in the next 3 to 5 years?
About, I believe that, anything between 10 to 20% of our revenue should come from the new products.
And
Does that answer your question?
yeah, I mean, Deep Shah, he asked that question. And how will the margin be in new stationery product compared to our existing margin?
So, definitely in Pentonic products, we have margins exceeding 40% whenever we launch a new Pentonic product. So far, other stationery products are concerned, the margins may be little lower because mostly they are outsourced at this point of time. So, yeah, so the margins would be little lower than Pentonic.
And new product target of 10 to 20%, does it include new pens as well?
Yeah, right, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And sir, are there any duties or tariff barriers you are facing in international market?
Yeah, so as I mentioned that in Turkey, for example, in Turkey, there are tariff barriers. So we used to export to Turkey 10 years back, but for last 10 years, the exports were stopped because they put some tariff barriers. So that's the reason that we decided to set up manufacturing in Turkey. Similarly, there's another country, Egypt, so where again, it used to be a large market for us, but then the tariff barriers were imposed about 10 years back. So we are now feeding that market from our Kenya factory because of both the countries are in Africa and they have under Africa agreement they are able to import from Kenya. So yes, we face such tariff barriers in some countries globally.
Thank you, sir. So before taking next question, just wanted to request all the participants to raise hand to ask more question. So we have question from Hemant. Hemant, please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Hi,
Yes,
Hemant.
Sir, I'm sorry I joined a bit late. Could you give us the revenue guidance for FY25, the growth guidance, if possible?
So Hemant, in our previous calls, or rather originally, we had given a growth, a CAGR of 17 to 20% for next 3 to 5 years. But the first 6 months have been quite mediocre, or I would say flattish. So it may be difficult to achieve 17 to 20% growth in this year, even though the CAGR we can still try to maintain, by doing better in the forthcoming years. But for this year, it looks a little challenging to achieve 17 to 20%. But we definitely will be falling between 10 to 15% of a growth.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
thank you, sir. So we have Azim questions. Do we already have a land bank for the new JV with the Mitsui at Ahmedabad?
So, as I mentioned, we'll be sharing more details about this JV on the 1st of October. But this is going to be a leased
Premises.
premises.
Okay, thank you, sir. And sir, last two, three questions that I will ask that I have. So, is there the company has a negative debt status, given that what is your capital allocation policies for the cash on books? So, if you can highlight on that.
Yeah, company is well positioned in that way. During the COVID period, just before the COVID period, we had a debt of 60 crore, but we could repay the entire debt just after COVID. And we are maintaining zero debt status for last 2 years. And hopefully we will be maintaining the same status for another year or so before our capex plan will be more or less materialized. And we need funds also for this JV with Mitsubishi as well as some other JVs like the Turkey JV. So all these will be funded from internal sources, internal accruals.
Okay, so
So
how much capex we have, sir? Capex plan for the 24 or earlier?
this year it will be more or less routine capex plus some capex for a new facility which we are creating near Kolkata. So it will be all funded through internal accruals for the time being. So FY25 balance sheet, hopefully we'll also have a zero debt, but FY26 onwards we may have some working capital debts.
Okay. So, how's the competitive landscape in India shaping up given the entry of drones?
So,
Drone-
yeah, so of course, there are, I would say, the writing instruments space is quite crowded already. So, DOMS is another brand in that crowd. Of course, yeah, they are of course better than some other brands. So yeah, so I mean, it's definitely a competitive space, and we have to create our own space and positioning. So we already created a positioning for Pentonic, which is like a premium positioning in the mass price segment, and I think we already have our good positioning.
Thank you, sir. So we have follow-up question from Akash. Akash, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so my next question is on the marketing expense. So I am seeing like 11 crore of marketing expense in last year balance sheet. So can you briefly talk about the marketing spend, how we do it, where we do it, like which channels we are picking for that?
Okay. So Akash, in our industry or in our category, the marketing expenses are not really great because we believe that the point of sale activities for our categories are more rewarding. So whatever advertisements we do, whether whether it is on television or on radio or on in the newspapers, they are, I would say, are kind of just to create a brand awareness, but or just to maintain a hygiene of awareness. So yeah, so there is nothing really much on the marketing front so far the ATL is concerned, but we do a lot of BTL activities. As I said, that the point of sale activities and in-shop campaigns, participating in local exhibitions, school events and school activities. So currently we are doing some activity at the schools, like we are giving Pentonic gel pen with a certificate, as my first pen is Pentonic gel pen to the class 5 students. So there are a series of below the line activities on the marketing front, but not much on the above the line.
Okay. Are we planning to hire any like a brand ambassador, like influencer marketing or anything?
So Akash, as you may be knowing that more than 10 years back, we had Shah Rukh Khan as our brand ambassador for 3 years. And so we realized that pen is a low involvement category, and brand ambassadors like do not benefit much in increasing the revenue. Of course, they are good for increasing the brand awareness, but we did not get any benefit in the revenue growth. So we decided that we would rather save that money and invest in below the line activities. So we don't have any plans for any brand ambassador, at least in the near future.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Akash. And yeah, so sir, due to time constraint, we have to end this call here and also no further questions. So thank you
All right.
all. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Jyoti. I hope I've been able to answer all your questions.
Yes, sir. Session was very good and interesting. We got all our answers. And sir, thank you so much for giving us time and sharing insight about about your company. So all the participants, thank you so much to join this
Okay.
call. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah.